Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our next Whampoa, our chapter meeting today. And today's theme is celebrate the small wins. So I am the Toastmaster of the day. I am Ramesh. And let's have a round. Let's have a round to speak about the theme. So shortly introduce yourself. If you are from Toastmaster club, tell from which club you are there, or for a guest, please tell who you invited to. Then what comes to your mind about celebrate the small things. So just to speak on that. So let's start maybe from right, sorry, from Swati.
Hi everyone, my name is Swati Dave. I'm from the SP Chair College of Global Management Toastmasters Club. For me, small wins are everyday activities which make you happy. And I think my speech will also touch upon that. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you everyone.
For the benefit of time, let's reserve the round of applause at the last after I complete my intro. So let's move on to the next speaker.
I'm Ryan, the secretary of Whampoa. When it comes to small wins, I think anything in life that you do can be a small win. Okay, just trying to step out and speak later with different topics, or even stepping out of comfort zone and stepping into Toastmasters. So we should all just celebrate every opportunity that we have.
Again, there's a round of applause at the end.
Okay, because Swati was like, really glad I thought myself back.
Hi
everyone, I'm Jackie. I'm SA of Whampoa Master Club. Been for 2 years already. A very engaging experience. And small win. To me, small win is about being able to do things that you are once fear of. And then you see yourself improve. I think you see yourself break through. That's a small win. Yeah. Thank you.
Suresha, Vice President Education from Singapore, Canada, Bilingual Toastmasters Club. Jeffrey nominated me. In fact, there was 2 speech slots open. She said it's and we will straight. So I put up my hand. I think small win is when there is an opportunity you throw it to others and somebody picks up. That both are good by itself. That's one thing that I would say. Other thing is today some of you are coming back from a contest. Whether you won or lost does not matter. You participated. The service wins. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sri Molianisi, known as Sri. I'm from Chongpang Toastmaster and Whampoa members. What is small win to me, in my perspective, is something that when we are getting closer to our goal and breakthrough in every small little single step through our daily life, that's called small win. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alicia Chia, the IPP of Whampoa Toastmaster Club. Wins. Should we have big or small? I always believe that before you get a big wins, just go for the small wins first. Then you build your momentum. And sooner or later, the big win is just around the corner. Just be patient. So back to you.
Hi, my name is Santosh. I'm the VP2 of this chapter. So celebrate small wins. I would like to focus on the first part, celebrate. So celebrate whenever you have an opportunity, whether it's small or big, doesn't matter. Celebrate when you think it's the right opportunity. Celebrate whenever you think it's the right opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hendrik. So I'm from Mastery Toastmasters Club. I was invited by Nisha to this club, and it happens so that it's also quite close to my place. So it's about 10 minutes walk. So it's so small ways to me. It's even though it's whether it's rain or shine, just show up and try to move close to your goal. So thank you.
Hi, good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zapa. I'm one of the founding members of Whampoa Toastmasters Club. Currently, I'm the club advisor. Just happened a few days ago. My wife got an earring, which is very small, with a screw. Unfortunately, it came unscrewed, and then earring dropped somewhere in the house. So when I noticed my wife with one ear with the earring, the other without the earring, I was like, hey, what happened to the other earring? That's when she realized, like, it's like, oops, it must have dropped somewhere. It's a gold earring. So we looked around the house and we couldn't find it, just too small. But just has happened to be, I noticed something on the floor. I was just wondering what is it, and I picked it up, and it happened to be the gold earring. And like out of it's like just like a needle in the haystack. To me, felt like a jackpot. Managed to find, and my wife, of course, was like ecstatic about it. It might be a small win, but it's like a jackpot to me.
Wow.
Enjoy.
Given the current gold rate, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Noor. I'm the VP of Whampoa Toastmaster Club. To me, when I was studying for my diploma, I felt that I needed to get good results. So for myself to feel healthy. And that was my own achievement, my own motivation to drive through. And once I work hard, I study hard, I feel myself studying hard. It showed in my exam results. I got an A that I actually worked without my older sister this time on my own. So that gave me a small win kind of happiness that you achieve something on your own and it feels amazing.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryder. I'm from Tampines Market Toastmasters. For me, small wins, every morning you wake, every breath you take, every step you make, it's already a small win. So as long as you have a grateful life, you have a winning life. Winning.
After everyone winning the year of first Cup, I think the small win is an appreciation for your daily life because it will give you a lot of positive energy to kickstart another better version of better journey. Because if you embark some of small things, you never do something big. So for me, actually, every small step you make is good to be celebrated and appreciate whatever you've done for yourself or to the social media or whoever. Yeah. So you make you feel more confident and more happy to continue to process for another bigger step. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So I'm Ramesh, president of this club. So I've been with Toastmasters from 2011. So what comes to me, celebrate the small wins is like, when many of the times, when we look at others, we always think what we don't have. The more our attention on others is like we are going to focus only on what we don't have. In this busy world of counting calories, counting pounds, counting likes and followers and views, we should never forget to count our blessings. The more we count our blessings, so what we gain is what going to make us to celebrate even the small wins. So I will have something to celebrate during the break. I will share something. You will celebrate that as well. So I will reserve time for that. So that's it from my side. So now let's give a round of applause for our. Thank you so much for your message. Okay. So today we have a very interesting agenda. Let me read out the appointment holders for today. So we have general evaluator is Alicia Cha, DDM doing our general evaluation today. We have our counter will be done by Noor Zafrina EH5 and timer is our Santosh Rao BM2. Then we have a special segment today by Haider Topic. So we will introduce during that time. Now let's move on to our program today. So now let me invite our president to give opening address to me. So Welcome everyone. I really appreciate our Toastmasters who contested today. Every attempt to going for a contest is always a win. Whether you win the contest or not, but it gives you more confidence. It gives you more confidence. It gives you more courage. So in line with that, I read an article, so I wanted to share that. So I don't want to miss any point of that. That's why I'm going to read on from here. You should always remember the 5 W's. So let me read out each W in our life. The first W is who. Who you are is what makes you special. Adjust well prepared for practical dealings, but do not change your course for anyone. Stay rooted in who you are. The second W is what. So what lies ahead is mystery, definitely, right? And is always will be like live your today well, and that's the best way to shape a better tomorrow. And the third W is when. When life pushes you, you should push back harder with faith, strength, and prayer. You have done it before well, no doubt, but you can do it now as well. The fourth W is where. So where there are choices to be made, pick the ones that your future self won't regret. So not that easy guys. Definitely we need to choose the right one for this. The fifth W, the last one is why. Why things are happening to us may not be clear, but how to deal with them is absolutely within our reach. So that's exactly, don't ask why me, ask what now and what's next. Truly, guys, we don't need answers to all right away, but always, we need to go in the right direction. I thought it was very inspirational what I read yesterday. I thought I would like to share as part of the president opening as well. So we have a very interesting segment today. In view of time, I'm returning the control of the stage back to Toastmaster of the day. Thank you. So now we have 3 segments today. The first segment is better speaking, where our Toastmaster speakers deliver the prepared speech. And second segment today we have is usually we have every topic segment. We are keeping that because we are special mini workshop. They get involved by that, and we also better listening segment where our lecturers well trained based on the guidelines for the deliver speech that will be the first section. So now we move on to the first speaker. So the first speaker is speaking from engaging humor level 1. The speech title is A Journey of People, Passion and Growth. I would like to invite the evaluator Winnie Form to read out the purpose of this speech. So she take it from Sanjeev. Yeah.
The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmaster emission monitoring. The purpose of this stage is for the member to share more aspects of the period experience as the stage is 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay, so driver, please take a note. At the 5th minute, a green card will be shown. Santosh. So at the 5th minute, a green card will be shown, and 6th minute, a yellow card will be shown, and 7th minute, a red card will be shown. After that, 7 minutes, 30 seconds, bell will be rung. So that's where we need to develop. To introduce this speaker, this speaker is really a hard-working student of life who is always seeking to grow himself and those around him to their fullest potential. So let me invite the speaker, Whampoa. her and DH1.
Back when I was in my early 20s, when I was that old, I watched a video by Jack Ma, who was one of the biggest video in China at the time. I said, your 20s, you can buy a mentor. So that's exactly what I did. I went into where the talks about fun, by instead. But after going in, I realized that applying what I thought said, I didn't get the same result as that. And after much reflection, I realized that because my personality is very different. A lot of them allow voices full of energy, a lot more reserved, wise. So I didn't think that mentorship had to be secret. The shortcut is that. Fast forward to this year, I was on a holiday, and as you go on your holiday, you relax. So while riding on one of the journeys, I was reflecting on my life. What have I been doing for the last 20 years of my life? Mostly just scrolling through my phone. So I was thinking, how do I use my time more wisely? I decided to change from scrolling at looking at fighting or comedy into scrolling, looking at learnings, how to improve myself. So I decided to watch productivity YouTube videos. How many of you like to watch YouTube? You can see YouTube has much love. So one of the YouTubers that I particularly love was very different from the rest. When they were talking about productivity tips 1, 2, 3, they were talking about productivity mindsets 1, 2, 3. And for me, I believe that mindsets are the root of our beliefs. For our mindsets, our actions, and our actions build who we are, our identity. So I really liked this particular YouTuber talks about mindsets. In fact, I was so inspired, I decided to try YouTube myself. How hard can it be? Just post videos online and you earn money. Simple. Until I started, it is much harder than that. If you thought writing a speech was hard, writing a video is 10,000 times harder. You need to deal with the idea, the thumbnail, the title, the script, and so much more. And after working 10 hours, only at 10 views, I was on the verge of giving up. And that was when my favorite YouTuber reached out with a mentorship program. So I decided to hop in the call. I was a bit nervous as well. Because you know what they say, never meet your heroes. A lot of the times they may be just personas online and not who they actually are in person. So I met her and I was shocked. She was telling me, every long form video you post is like a golden lottery ticket. Once it has a chance to go viral, your channel will explode. She was as emotional and inspiring in real life, even more so than in her videos. So I decided to take up an offer and try out the mentorship program, despite my past beliefs. She showed me a lot of knowledge that was very hard for a new YouTuber to learn, and many systems and SOPs to guide me along. This way, I saved years of hard work and effort just by having a mentor. And so I realized that with all this hard work, my views also increased from 10 to 50 to 100. And so after this, I realized that actually mentorship is the shortcut to success. But you just need to find the right mentor. Mentor that embodies what you believe in and who has the experience to guide you along the right path. So if you are struggling in any area of your life, whether it is in relationships, finance, or maybe health, I encourage you, fellow Toastmasters, take the shortcut to success. Find a mentor who suits your personality type and who you can believe in, who is able to bring you further, higher, and deeper along your path and your journey. This way, you'll be much further ahead than everyone else who is struggling on their own, because you have the guided expertise, a mentor to help you. And I want to end by saying this. Wise people, they learn from their experience. Wiser people learn from the experience of others. So find a mentor today. Back to you.
Thank you, Zephyr. Of course, YouTube is always everyone's favorite. So of course, my second son always only on the YouTube. So it helps both personally, in both ways, like to learn something or to listen to music or spend our time. So my second son always on learning on YouTube. Let's move on to the next speaker. The next speaker is speaking from the project path presentation mastery level 3. Disconnect to reconnect. I would like to invite our evaluator Zephan Wong to read out the purpose of the project.
Purpose of this project, remember practice writing to develop and inspire others.
The timing sequence is the same, 5 to 6. And before I invite the speaker to connect, let me introduce the speaker. To speak about the speaker is someone who's endlessly curious about ideas, people, and how things can be made better. By profession, she works with the data and risk, but what really excites her is uncovering the stories behind the numbers and sharing insights that spark new perspective. Outside of work, she loves learning, connecting with people from different walks of life, and through Toastmasters continues to challenge herself to communicate with greater confidence and impact. So now let me invite our speaker, Swati Dev. The speech title is Disconnect to Reconnect. The speech title is, I read this speech title. So now let me invite the speaker, Swati Dev PM. Yeah.
When you ever had a moment where you truly felt alive, not just going through the motion, but truly present in that moment. I had that feeling high up at the mountains, at the temple, right about to step into 108 mountains. Now, but this feeling of being truly present did not start halfway across the world in the mountains of Nepal, but it started right here in Singapore on a very ordinary summer afternoon with my son. So good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. So earlier this year, my son's summer holidays have started. And like many of you friends, we were thinking of putting him in a enrichment class. But then I thought to do something different and thought to explore the lighthouses across Singapore. So every afternoon after lunch, we would pack our bags and start a new adventure. So first, we climbed up to the Fort Canning and discovered the 1855 replica of the lighthouse. Then we went to the beautiful brick red Berlayer Point Lighthouse at the Labrador Park. And one day, we went all the way to Tuas at the very edge of Singapore to see the beautiful Raffles Marina Lighthouse looking over the Second Lake. These weren't expensive trips, just mother, son, MRT card, but lots of curiosity. And these afternoons became one of the most cherished memories. We explored part of the city we had never seen before. And it made me realize that I've been so caught up in work and in daily routine that I've forgotten to be present, even with my own son. And this lesson stayed with me when we were planning a trip to Nepal last month. And the things were looking very uncertain due to the political situation there. So I was checking the news for the updates. It was Durga Puja season in Singapore, and I had things to attend here. But the news from Nepal was depressing. But then we thought, just trust and go. And I'm so happy we did it. The moment we landed in Kathmandu, we knew we had made the right decision. The city was alive, bursting with festivities. We landed at the heart of the Shan. It's the grand festival of Nepal. And here in Singapore, you might know it as Durga Puja or Dashera. It is a victory of good over evil. But in Nepal, it is called Deshan, and it's a 15-day-long festival where the entire country comes together. There we went to Pashupatinath temple. It's one of the holiest temples dedicated to Lord Shiva. And there I witnessed something which I will never forget. Nepalese army helicopter flying over the temple, showering the petals. Imagine this. The army, the government, and the ordinary people, everyone has come together to celebrate this moment of devotion. And it was a powerful reminder that few things matter more than just daily busyness. From here, we went to high up in the Himalayas to Muktinath. And there, we had to climb 300 stone steps. The air was thin, our legs were burning, and our lungs were working hard. And we reached the 108 fountains. Now picture this, 108 fountains, spouts of water, ice cold water, falling there. And people from far away come for days, travel for days, and come to pass through these fountains. And I'm standing there contemplating. Then I thought, Swati, when will you come back here again? And where you will get this opportunity to experience this? And that's when I decided, just do it. I did all 108 fountains. With each fountain, with each shock of ice cold water on my head, I was truly alive. I was present in that moment. I was not thinking about work or what I'm missing here. I was just there. Then from way back from Johnson to Pokhara, our flight got canceled. So what would have taken 20 minutes on air has now converted into a 7-hour-long drive in the mountains. Usually I would be frustrated and angry, but then I chose, let's enjoy the scenic beauty of the Himalayan mountains. And I talked to the driver about his growing up in the mountains, and I could feel the rhythm of a slow and more deliberate life. So here's what I want to conclude with. The holiday season is right around the corner, and you all will be busy with celebration. Why not take out some time to devote, to be totally disconnected? So and maybe go with your family, explore Singapore. The lighthouses are still standing there. Or maybe join an art class, or go for a weekend trip you have been postponing. It doesn't need to be expensive or elaborate. It just needs for you to be fully present. You know, world is full of hidden lighthouses and sacred fountains, but you need to disconnect to discover them. So this holiday season, put down your phone, pick up your curiosity, and go reconnect to things that matter most. Thank you.
Thank you. It was always my wife's bucket list, Nepal. So even last October we have this Navaratri for that Puja. She was studying West of Nepal. I didn't get that. Yeah, I didn't put my phone down that time. Okay, so now let's move on to the last speaker, the propensity speak segment. So the next speaker is going to present from the presentation mastery level 3. Speech title is Back to the Stage. So let me invite the evaluator to read out the purpose of this project. So the evaluator is me. So let me read out the purpose of the project. So the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and the team and learn the basic structure of a public speech. So before I invite the speech, timing is 5 to 6.
No, 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
4. Okay.
It's a
Fourth minute green card will be shown, 5th minute yellow card will be shown, and 6th minute red card will be shown, and 6 minutes 30 seconds. Then you play now. Okay, so let me introduce the speaker before I invite him. So this speaker is working as a quality professional since he moved to Singapore in 2000. So he is associated with the various cultural organizations and communities in Singapore. So he has a passion for cricket, chess, and classical music. Oh, interesting. So he is one of the founding members of Singapore Canada Bilingual Toastmasters Club and currently the EPE of the club. So let me invite the speaker, Suresha, PM1 to deliver.
Before I start, I was supposed to give the speech in our club last week. The meeting got cancelled. So I'm doing that here. I had reserved, I thought I would be doing the second speech, but I'm doing the first speech. Just a little background. Okay, good to start. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Now, let me have a show of hands. How many of you watch some TV serials, follow some sports or Netflix or follow motivational speaker, anything? No? How many of you do this? If you do any of this, not necessarily limited to this, raise your hand. Okay, majority of you watch something or other. Okay, that's good. Okay, now I'm sure some of you or most of you have your favorite show or your favorite hero or your favorite sports star. Am I right to say that? Okay, now question is, can one of you tell me why is so and so your favorite? Any show and or anything and somebody is your favorite. Can you explain me why? Anyone?
This gives some pleasure out of what you see. Maybe when I watch cricket, I like it. Gives me some kind of relaxation.
Okay, no, but you also have somebody favorite. Would that be right to say?
Yeah.
And why he or she is your favorite?
Because maybe when I was watching, Sachin Tendulkar was one of my favorites. Every time I used to watch him, he used to win matches for India. So I
Okay. Successful. Yeah. Okay. Now link to that. A question: why he or she is successful? Anyone, again, you or somebody? Consistency, okay, anything else?
Master.
Okay, okay, got it. Absolutely. So basically, they are extremely good at what they are
Yeah.
because they put in a lot of hard yards. This is exactly why I wanted to join Toastmasters Club. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here is my introduction, this icebreaker speech. Before I go further, a quick question. Let's have some fun at my expense. Can anyone guess my age? No penalty for guessing wrongly. 20 to 80, you can guess any number. One or two, just go for 21. 31, okay. Anyone else?
38.
Huh? Okay. Anybody else? One more.
38.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start. Okay, I think I finished this. Icebreaker, so I want to give all this here. Okay, I was born in 1971. You can calculate the age. Okay. And I was born in a place called Karnataka, and in a village in Karnataka, the one highlighted. Karnataka is a place where people speak Kannada language. So I put pictures so that some of you can visualize where it is. Yeah, and then this place is where I did my diploma in Bangalore, NTTF. And my first job was last year from Mysore. Then in 1998, I moved from Mysore to Bangalore. I worked in Philips. Then was time for ringing the bell. Yeah, I got married in 1999. Then 2000, I flew to Singapore from Bangalore. 2000, now it's about 25 years since I came here. Then in around 2004, I did my MBA. And yeah, our family grew. We have two lovely daughters. My elder daughter studying medicine in Australia, fourth year now. Younger one right now writing her JC2 exam. That's my small little family. This is my wife. And company-wise, my first job was Philips, Bangalore, then Philips Singapore. Then I worked in Delphi Technologies. Then I worked in Continental. So this is roughly briefly about myself. Something more, I think it was covered in the introduction. Okay. I also want to highlight, like anybody else who moves from other country to Singapore, I pass through all the stages. Employment pass to permanent residency to Singapore citizen. So all four of us are Singapore citizens. So that's about Hungary. Activities, part of it was already covered in the introduction. I was Kannada Singapore Kannada Sangam member. I was in the executive committee. I was secretary for 2 years. I was vice president for 2 years. Then I'm also working in, as assistant secretary in PA, Indian Activity Executive Committee. Then Toastmasters 2022 is when my Toastmasters journey started. Something interesting there, one of the club was closing, and that's when we want to start. I think so many of you know Swarna Kalyan, many of you also know Sharon. So those two were the ones who helped us set up our club. And now it's about 3 years since our club. So this is a bit of my journey. And when I started my pathway, initial years, you need to put in a lot of things in place before the club comes to some shape. Now in 3 years, we have already achieved distinguished speaker twice. So we have done quite a few achievements. There's still a long way to go. So my speech started slowly, but at some point, then I picked up speed. Then this is what happened. I completed my first pathway last year. This year, June. But did I learn everything what I intended to do? In the beginning, I said, this is what I said to do, but did I do? I would say it's a bit of mixed result. There are a few things that I learned, but there are also a few things that I could have done different. Two main things that where I faltered all along. One is the preparation for the speech was very, it was always last minute and I relied on script. Now, those are two things I want to improve. That's why I've taken up my second pathway. This happens to be my icebreaker. In Singapore, weather, ice will melt pretty soon, but here I am. After 2.5 years, another icebreaker speech with a lot of speed. Thank you. Thank you for your
So one of the things we always learn is that when we leave state should return the control back to the first person of the.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just wanted to highlight. Now, I would like to ask our timers to read out the timing sequence after also removing the red card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The record was not full.
I know.
So Zafan 5 minutes 13 seconds. Swati 7 minutes 15 seconds. Suresh 6 minutes 25 seconds.
Okay, so all qualified for
All
voting.
qualified. Yes, all qualified.
So all qualified for voting. And you know, in Whampoa, we are always eco-friendly. That's why you see a digital program sheet. And at the same time, for casting the vote, we have a digital. Sorry, not digital. You have this mechanism where you can. What this was designed by our one of our Whampoa member, Vasan. So you can choose 1, 2, 3 among 1, 2, 3. You can choose the best speaker whom you like, and you can put the vote over there. You can pass it on. We move on to the next very interesting segment while you complete your voting there for the best speaker. Before I move on to the next segment. So how many of you just wanted to have a moment before you get the speaker? So how many of you like, now I hope you all will agree that the feedback is a really vital to both the receiver as well as to the person who gives, right? So I would like to share something from my personal thing, like, after my marriage, the first week of my marriage, my wife prepared very big, like very what to say, like for a very big gathering, like my wife's relatives, all her brothers, family, as well as parents, on her friends as well. When during the lunch time, my wife took me in a hotspot. She asked me, "Hey, how is the food?" So I wanted to disclaimer, I was not Toastmaster at the time. So I wanted to share something. I don't know what to share. Like it was very everyone was looking at me, staring at me, what I was speaking on that. I just told, food is very delicious. Immediately she asked, "Hey, I don't want just delicious. You tell me which among these, I have so many items prepared. Among these, which one is delicious?" And you also further you give more insights on what ingredient showed you that is more delicious. So that's when I learned, okay, feedback is not just telling just delicious or fabulous doesn't work. So you have to be more constructive in a way, saying that, hey, in what way that could or what could have been done well, or in what way it impressed you, something like that. So I just setting the stage over there. So let me invite our next segment conductor. Before that, let me introduce him. So okay, for the next segment, the speaker highlighted topics is a charisma coach and public speaking specialist for over 14 years. He has coached and trained TEDx speakers, top executives, and high performing business leaders to command a high level of influence, respect, and authority. So he is a two-time national public speaking champion, having won the District Area Evaluation Speech Champion in back-to-back years for 2024 and 2025. And has recently launched his new book, How to Give Excellent Evaluation, a champion's guide to excel at giving feedback. Let me invite our speaker to hide.
Thank you, Ramesh. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Here in Toastmasters, we eat it not just for breakfast, but also for lunch, for dinner, sometimes supper. Good afternoon, Club President, fellow Toastmasters. And yes, it's an honor to be here speaking at Whampoa Toastmasters on one of my personal favorite topics, evaluation. Now, I just want to do a quick poll of everyone here in the room. How many of you have done many evaluations already? Too many? Wow, okay. We have a lot of veterans. How many of you have only done less than 3 evaluations? Yeah, Santosh. All right, very interesting. So, you also, okay. Many, how many? All right, and less than 3 is less than many. Okay, thank you so much. Right, so regardless of where you are at in your evaluation journey, I promise you that by the end of today's segment, you will learn something to level up your evaluation skills, right? So just to share a little bit about myself, yes, as what Ramesh mentioned, I was the District 80 champion for evaluation in 2024 and 2025. In 2023, I was second place. And I'm a charisma coach by profession. I train professionals how to be confident and charismatic when they speak on stage. So these are some of the things that I've had a privilege to do, and these are some of the clients that I've spoken to in the past. All right, this is proof. So if let's say I brag and I say I'm a champion, and it's not just show you. Okay, so let's start off with something very simple. What makes a great evaluation? All of you have given evaluations before. You've been evaluated before. Maybe you've seen great evaluators, or maybe you've been like, you look at a great evaluator and you're like, how do I even do something like that? So what makes a great evaluator? Shout out to me. Yes, one.
At the end of the evaluation, person in your evaluation has a concrete points to take away an action.
All right, they know exactly what to do after the evaluation. Thank you, Swati. Anyone else?
The speaker gets a picture of both what went well and where he also he gets a balanced view.
Okay, balanced view. Thank you, Suresha. Anyone else? Balanced view, actionable. Anyone else?
Maybe out of the box thinking for the speaker who has often. So out of the box thinking, hey, this is not the way you could have delivered. Maybe you could have added these flavors and could have improved, but the speaker he himself will feel better. Has a getting more insights to improve on this.
Right. Right. Thank you, Ramesh. So something out of the box, something that's not so direct or not so observable, maybe something new, or maybe even a blind spot. All right, exactly. So I feel like there are 3 E's. All right, 3 E's to make a great evaluator or evaluation. The first is evaluations have to be encouraging. Right? Because if it's not encouraging, then the speaker won't feel the need to or the inspired to want to take action after the evaluation. And essentially, that is what makes a great evaluator, where the speaker feels excited to be like, hey, I'm gonna apply whatever the evaluator told me immediately after this. I know exactly what to do. That's what Swati mentioned. Another one is it has to be effective. The evaluator has to point out exactly where that speaker can improve. And not just give generic advice. Oh, you should move around the stage more. Have you heard of that one before?
Yes.
You should use more hand gestures. How much? Like this is okay. How much? Right? Not effective. Okay, because it's not specific and it could be something that's generic, not really appropriate to that speaker. Right? So it has to be effective as well. And finally, as what Ramesh mentioned earlier, it could be enlightening. Now, you don't necessarily must go to the mountains of Nepal or go and achieve nirvana, right? Or make your speaker achieve nirvana after your evaluation. You don't have to do it. But essentially, your evaluation has to reveal some sort of a blind spot, create an aha moment in the speaker. If you can do that, then you're a great evaluator, right? Other than that, it's good, right? Or rather above average. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can do that. Most importantly, the philosophy is it's not about you. Many evaluators, they make it a performance. You've seen some before, right? They make it about themselves and then they will talk about themselves more than the speaker themselves. Okay, so remember, it's not about you. The more you focus your evaluation on giving value, not just to the speaker, but to the audience in general, you become an excellent evaluator. All right? So I'm going to share with you 3 common mistakes made by evaluators, and I want you to guess what they are. Okay, so I'm going to show you some hints here. What do you think this is?
Okay.
Too much information overload.
Too much information on
Too much information. Yeah, I agree.
speech.
Too much criticism, right? Maybe not in the criticism stage yet. Okay, but
Feedback here.
yes, all right. So mistake number 1. Many evaluators, they tend to do this. They list, right? They do this thing called listing or cramming the evaluation, right? So for example, Zephyr, I really like the title of your speech, and also the way you use your hand gestures, that was good. And then I also like the way you pace back and forth, that was also good. And then the way you organize your speech, you had 3 different parts, that was nice as well. With your vocal variety, also I appreciated it. With the way you project your voice, I also like that. Were you able to follow the evaluation? Not exactly, right? You're giving me the blank stare, right? So, a good evaluation, how long do you have for an evaluation?
3 minutes.
2.5 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, right? So in that short period of time, even if you manage to find 10 things, can you squeeze in all 10 things? No, right? So the best evaluators, they don't try to cram everything they see into an evaluation. Rather, they choose only the things that are apt for that speaker in that moment. So instead of listing or cramming your evaluation, what you could do is you must have some sort of a structure, and I would recommend 2 good points, 2 areas of improvement. Right? Note this down, because after this there will be an exercise where you put your evaluation skills to the test. Okay. All right. So 2 good points, 2 areas of improvement. Some people, they have different ratios. Some like 3-3. Sometimes I go with 3-2. 3 good points, 2 areas of improvement, just so that I can skew my evaluation more on the positive side, right? But regardless of what it is, 2-2 is a great ratio, right? Even for today, when I compete in evaluation contest, I also stick 2-2, right? And I'll show you why later. Okay, so 2 good points, 2 areas of improvement. Next, what do you think this is? What is the mistake?
Long-winded.
Long-winded, okay. All right, what do you think? Alicia?
Don't come to the point, is it?
Don't come to the point, okay.
Because I see a lot of curves.
Confused, maybe.
Confused, yeah. All right, so mistake number 2 is no clear structure. Okay, no clear structure. So for example, let's say I'll give Zephan again. So Zephan, you had great body language. I love the way you stood on stage, even though I would prefer if you use a little bit more hand gestures. And then I would love for you to also have more vocal variety, because I couldn't quite hear you clearly. But other than that, your pitch was still pretty good. And back to the body language part, I felt that besides walking back and forth, you could also change your title. All right. So once you change your title, it would fit better to the audience. Are you following me? No. Okay. But I've heard evaluators like that. All right. They move from good point to not so good point, then back to good points again. All right. So a very simple way to structure your evaluation is to use this thing called the what, how, and why. What, how, and why. So I'm going to give you a demo, right? I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So I'm going to give a solid commendation. So what is a commendation? A commendation is a strength or a good point that the speaker has. Okay. So a commendation, how you could structure it, you could start off with what did the speaker do well, and then you move on to how did they do it by giving some examples from their speech, and you also say why was it effective. Okay, why was it effective? So hold your phones, because on the next slide I'll give example. Okay, so let's say what did the speaker do well? So let's say you like the speaker structure and say your speech was well structured and organized. That is the what. Then what comes after what? The how. So how did the speaker structure and organize the speech? So for example, they had a framework, they had ABC, all right, or vacation ABC, to highlight 3 factors we can use to be a better speaker: appearance, body language, and clarity. Many evaluators, they stop at the how. Because what comes after how? Exactly. So what makes your evaluation really valuable to a speaker is when you can share with the speaker and to the audience, why was it effective when they did that? Okay, so why was it effective? This makes it easy for the audience to remember your point, and most importantly, apply to our own journey as speakers. Better? Yeah. All right. Make sure when you take photos, I'm inside. Well, on social media, you can tag me. Okay. All right. So the same structure as well for recommendations. So when you write a recommendation, which is essentially how can the speaker improve? Okay, what can the speaker do better? Show how it can be done and why is it important for the speaker to acknowledge your recommendation. So an example of that is, okay, don't worry. The one recommendation I have for you is to include a personal story. Okay, so let's say the speaker was very technical, very data-driven, research-based, very logical here. Maybe you want to connect with them even more. You ask them to include a personal story. Now, do you write up the story for your speaker? No. So what can you do? How can you show them how?
I think our life or our thing, an example.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
You do a replay of what he did and how he or she could do better.
Yes. Okay. But how do you do it if, let's say, the recommendation is a story?
Story.
Okay. So if let's say it's a story, very simple. You don't have to write out the entire story for a person, but you can ask to share how did you personally transform, let's say, as a leader. So for example, if the speech was about leadership, all right, you want the speaker to show how they transform as a leader, give personal anecdotes on who they were before, who they were after. What have they learned after that? Okay, so you could give them pointers on how to craft their story, but you don't have to write the story for them. Got that? That is a very simple way for you to illustrate what the speaker can do. And finally, share why is it important that they must have a story. Okay, so by sharing your story, you become more credible as a speaker because you don't just tell us that leadership is important, you show us. Okay, so take note, when you give recommendations, let's say you want somebody to have to project their voice more, right? So if you want them to project their voice, you can show how it's done as an evaluator, and you also want to have a reason, and you also want to know why is it important for them to project their voice, so that we can hear you better, so that the person at the back can hear you better. So that is the why. So once you have the what, how, and why, you notice that that evaluation becomes very complete. Okay, so this what, how, and why is 1 point. Okay, 1 point. Remember in my first tip, how many good points, how many areas of it? Two. All right. So this one is 1. Okay, so you just have to take this times 4. That's it. Right? You don't have to go long-winded with your evaluation. You definitely can hit within the bell. All right. So you can end within rate. What about this one? What is this listing? I don't always leave abruptly, but when I
Sometimes.
okay, so summarize what you could do. Well, what's the mistake? Ending what? Ending abruptly, exactly. Ending abruptly. Ending suddenly. A lot of evaluators they do this not because they want to, but because they see red. Yes. Okay, but either way, you'll be cutting your evaluation short. What you could do instead is, instead of ending abruptly, you can, all of you mentioned this already just now, right? Have a summary at the end. All right, summarize at the end. In fact, summary is so important that in an evaluation contest, just summation alone, which is the summary, is 15% of your score.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine you do an exam, right? You don't have a summary, that's 15 marks gone in the wind, just like that. Okay, so that is how important a summary is. Why is it important for us to have a summary in general? Right? So it's not enough for the speaker to just be inspired, but they have to retain whatever you shared with them. Like, Swati mentioned this. And because sometimes when you are delivering your evaluation, many times the speaker is writing down notes based on what you shared with them. And they might miss out some of your points. Okay, so when you summarize, you repeat your points again, they definitely will read. Got that? Okay, so in summary, all right, in summary, mistake number 1 is listing and cramming. So instead of that, what could you do? Yes. How many points? How many? Two. Okay, go with the two, right? Start with the two first. All right. No clear structure, so instead, what can you do? Yes, all right. For each point, what, how, and why, right? So evaluators take note of your okay for today. All right, and ending abruptly. So instead of ending abruptly, you can have a summary. All right, so summarize and you're done. So good slide to take photo. All right, good so far. Is this applicable? Yes, applicable, right? Okay. All right, so some quick do's and don'ts. Now take note that these do's and don'ts are also applicable when you're giving feedback in general, not just in evaluators context. Okay, so when you say when you give feedback, don't say that was not good. Okay, you shouldn't pace around so much. That was not good. Suresh, how do you feel? Santosh, how do you feel? Somebody say not good the way you do. Feels bad. Feels bad. Okay, you tell him the way you say to me is not good also. Alright, so instead of saying that, you say it would be more effective if you did this. More effective, it would be much more impactful if you did this. Now, these are great phrases. These are phrases that I use all the time. Okay, so use them. It works. Another one. You should have done this. Alright, really, you should have done this. How do you feel? I don't listen to this person anymore. Treat me like a child. Yes. Okay. We don't like to be told what we don't like to be told what we should do. So what can you do instead? Right? You can give them a choice. Say instead of this, try that. Right? So some speakers, instead of having 5 different points, focus on try having 3 points instead. Okay? Instead of pacing around the stage, try rooting yourself in the center and speaking from where you are. So instead of this, try that. Got that? Okay, just try. All right. Another one, don't admonish the speaker. What is admonish? Scold. Scold. How many of you have kids? Yeah. How many of you are kids? Yeah, all are kids. All right. Do we like to be scolded? We don't. Right. So don't scold your speaker, but instead you can say what you would prefer. You know, I would prefer if you did this. I would love it if you stay grounded so that we can focus on. I would love it if you could speak a little louder so that everybody can hear you. I would love it when you do that. I would like it, I would prefer it. Okay. A lot of people who attend my evaluation workshops, they leave as better parents, not so much evaluators. But I'm still there. Okay. Don't give vague advice, right? You need to move around the stage more. You need to use more hand gestures. Okay, you need to use more body language. All right, so don't give vague advice, but rather be specific. All right, give specific recommendations. So if let's say you want the speaker to move around a little more, how should they move? You can try positioning yourself on the left side, and then the middle and the right side to anchor different points in your speech. Okay, does that make sense? Yes. Okay, beneficial? Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, consideration. All right. Now, finally, how do you improve your evaluation skills? Now, the great thing about evaluations is you don't have to wait until you become an evaluator for you to practice evaluation. In fact, you can practice your evaluation skills all the time, as long as you attend a Toastmaster meeting, or even when you go to work. At work, you also can practice your evaluation skills. All right, and that is how you accelerate your progress as an evaluator. One of the very first tips that I would like to share with everyone, okay, it also has to do with our theme today. What is our theme today? Small wins, right? So you want to collect every small win. How? By evaluating everyone. Okay. So what do I mean by evaluating everyone? How the Toastmaster of the day open open the meeting. You also write down who they try doing this, but I love the way he did this. I love the way the president, who is also the TMD, did this. Right? Or I love the table topic master when they tried this. You can learn from them. And how they can improve this. So you write it down in your own notes. You don't have to share your feedback with people. But when you do that, you constantly train your analytical muscles. Now take note that evaluations, why is it challenging for many people? It's because when you evaluate, you are using multiple skills. You are listening, and then you are also recording, and then you are also thinking about what the speaker just said. And then you are crafting your own evaluation, thinking about what is good, and then after that you have to deliver. That's 5 skills in one. Okay, so you don't have to wait until you are given the project evaluator or speech evaluator role to practice your evaluation. You can already start practicing all these skills, even while you are still sitting down passively in the meeting. All right, so move from passive to active and practice evaluating everyone. This is what I did. Okay, so whether I would attend this chapter meeting or another chapter meeting, I would be evaluating everybody. But whether I give you my feedback or not, that's up to you. Ask me. Okay, all right. So regularly work out your analytical muscles. Right, now what's the next one? My next tip is that you also want to record down what other evaluators say. So I call it collecting more tools in your toolbox. Many new evaluators, usually when they give recommendations, it's very delivery based, right? They will say, oh, you should project your voice more, or use more pauses, right? Or use more hand gestures. Why? Because these are things that are directly observable, that we don't really need that much analyzing for us to point out these things, right? Or have more eye contact. Okay, so it's very observable, very delivery related. However, if you want to advance your evaluation skills, you want to practice giving recommendations more on the speaker's content. But many times when we do evaluations, we're like, how do I even find anything to do with the content? The speaker is so good. Okay, so what you do is, every time you hear a really great evaluator, write down what did they say. Because these are all tools you can collect. Because you can also use these same techniques, the what, why, and how, in your own evaluation. All right. So that is something I did very early on as well. So when I started as a new speaker, I would be wondering, how is this evaluator able to find so many things? And I can barely find anything for my speaker. Like, oh, the speaker is so good. How many of you have felt that way before? Yeah. Speaker is so good, I cannot find anything. Okay, because you don't have enough tools in your toolbox. It's not because you're not a good evaluator. All right, so collect more references, visit more clubs, see the great evaluators, and write down the things they say, because you can also use that for yourself. And finally, all right, this is my magic tip. Okay, how many of you, when you are doing your evaluations, sometimes after you heard the evaluator, after you heard your speaker speak, you feel stuck. You're like, I can't think of any more thoughts. Right? Yeah. This speaker is so good, I can't find anything to fix or help them. Yes. All right. So there's a very simple prompt that you can tell yourself, not through ChatGPT, but to your own mind, on how can you generate things or recommendations for the person. And it's a very simple question you can ask yourself. So I started asking myself this question as well. And then I realized I could find more things to help the speaker. And this question is, what can the speaker do to make me more convinced? All right. What can the speaker do to make me more convinced? Okay. So I'll give a very simple example. Let's say Swati earlier, right? She shared with a trip on going to Nepal. I've never been to Nepal before. Okay. And then she says, put down your phone, go out, go for a trip, right? But then I realized that, okay, I want to do that, but what would make me more excited to want to go on that trip? What would make me more excited to want to put down my phones? Then I realized I'm busy with stress and I'm busy with all my work and all these things. So perhaps Swati could give me more recommendations on how I can put the phone away. And what are simple tips for me to navigate? If let's say I want to go to my dream destination, what are some practical tips that's very easy for me to access immediately? That would make me more convinced about the speech, right? And that will make me really want to adopt a message. A message is already very powerful, but what would give the edge? Okay, so that would make me more convinced. Or maybe she could also share what are some of the obstacles that she had along the way while she was traveling, and how did she overcome those obstacles? Because for me, I'm scared of those obstacles. That's why I don't travel. What if I'm lost? Or what if I don't have? Or what if I lose my money? Right? These are all unfounded fears that I may have. Okay, but if she had covered that, I would be more convinced. Right? For example. Okay, so once you ask yourself, what can the speaker do to make me more convinced? Is it they can share with me a story? Is it maybe to be more lighthearted? Is it to have more, citing more sources in their speech? Whatever it is. Okay, and if you can do that, you can even evaluate the champion speakers. Right? Sounds good? Yes? So, summary, evaluate everyone, record down what other evaluators say, and ask yourself the magic question. What can the speaker do to make me more convinced? Okay. All right, clear so far? Yes? Yes. Okay. How many of you want to know how I do my evaluations? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to share with you my evaluation technique. Giving my secrets away. Alicia excited. Okay, so when you're going for evaluation contest, right? You're given a blank sheet of paper. Okay, usually with the name, you can write the name, speaker's name for that, right? So same thing. I want you to also practice this. If there's a blank piece of paper, you can pass around for all of you to practice. Okay, that would be great. So if not, you can also write this on your phones or in your notes. Okay. So what I like to do is, if I'm given a blank piece of paper, I like to draw a line in the middle. Okay, I like to draw a line. Thank you so much, Ramesh. Thank you. So Ramesh is passing some blank pieces for you. Oh, no. If you want to try practicing. What I like to do is I like to draw a line in the middle. And I write the speaker's name and speech title at the top, left-hand corner. And then my points on the left side, my examples on the right side. Now, when you are listening to your speaker and you're crafting your evaluation, will you be busy writing your points or your examples? What do you think? On the left side or on the right side? What do you think? When you are listening to the speaker is still speaking, usually you write down which column, left or right? Left. Why right? Spot on, right? So you should be spending time writing on the right side, the examples. Because the speaker will be saying some things and you don't want to miss that out. So because you don't want to miss that out, you want to write down their quotes, the lines that you really like, the rhetorical devices that they use in the examples column. So that later when you give your evaluation, you can refer to it easily. You can quote your speaker effectively. All right, and because of that, while they're speaking, you quickly write down. Then later, after they have sat back down and you are crafting your evaluation, you can spend time to think about, okay, this is what the speaker did well. Number one, they have good language, they have good humor, so on and so forth. Okay, so I like to organize my notes just 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so if let's say I have examples, so point number 1, let's say the speaker had great language, then I will write the examples here. Okay, so I'll go to 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I will read. How many of you, when you write your evaluation notes, sometimes you get lost in your own notes? Then you're like, where did I write that? That. And you had that feeling before when you are turning pages in the middle way, trying to find your points everywhere, right? Okay, so you gotta get organized because When you're not organized, it will spend a lot of your time and bandwidth during your evaluation. You're wasting time effectively. Okay, so that's why you want to organize it in such a way. Then in the end, you can write the summary below. Right, that's what I like. All right, got that? Okay, so now we will do a practice. Right, we'll do a practice as the aircon simmers down. You can hear my voice. Now more open. Now I was shivering already. Okay, so we're gonna have a test speaker for today. All right, and we're gonna have a test speaker, and this speaker will be speaking for 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, and what we will do, all right, at least in your piece of paper, I want you to try evaluating this person. And when you evaluate this person in your own notes, I want you to write down at least one good point and one area of improvement in terms of the what, how, and why. All right, so one good point, what, how, and why, and one area of improvement, what, how, and why. Then after that, we're going to discuss. Okay, can we do that? Yes. All right. So let's invite our test speaker for today, Alicia, with her speech, Mega's Home. Right, let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we have Alicia with her speech title, Mega's Home. Mega, MEGA, apostrophe S, Home. All right, all the first.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gather around. Today, I have a tale so bold and unbelievable that only the bravest of hearts will believe it. It's Beggar's Home, a legend that people come all the way from Johor just to drop by, have a cup of cloud tea and a unicorn cookie. Mega's home is not just any house. It's a living, breathing house that's perched at the edge of imagination. When you arrive at the house, the door is so big that you need a parade just to open the door. And when Mega swings open the door, the wind blows the trees at the other side of the planet. The floor mat is made of the manes of the unicorn, and it glitters so brightly that it looks like a trove of treasures. That's why there's always pirates passing by. Now step into the house, if you dare to step into it. Once you step into it, the first thing you see is the long corridor, which stretches for miles ahead. What is interesting is that this is no ordinary corridor. Every morning, it will change direction. Monday morning, it turns into the kitchen. And the kitchen has a fridge that is self-stocking and an oven that sings lullabies of rising dough. On Fridays, it transforms into a bowling alley where Mega always has a lucky strike. His bowling ball never fails to strike 10. It's because it's powered by the moonbeam. Now, besides the long corridors, there's also the living room, where once you sit on the sofa, you will sink deeply into the land of the north. And the windows, they have different sceneries every day. Yesterday, it was the Grand Canyon. Today is the Great Reef. I forgot what it's Great Barrier Reef. Tomorrow, rumors have said that it's the rings of Saturn, which will come close by. Now, the backyard is a world unto itself. There's a tall tree where it brushes the bellies of passing planes. And the branches of the tall tree, there's a library, a music room, and even a balcony where the little squirrels wear tiny hats and they have tea with the butterflies. At night, there'll be glittering glows of fireflies sending messages for Mega to look for. Mega's home is so magical. And it's not about the long corridors, the teleporting windows, or even the doors. But the magic comes from the warmth of the people who come to the house, the warm hearts. And the stories, yes, the stories, they get taller with every telling of the tale. So, next time, when you are walking nearby, probably at the end of the rainbow, where you smell the breeze of cookies, you will know that you're reaching the corner where Mega's house is located. Do not be afraid. Step into the house. Open the large doors. And you'll find adventure. So, my dear friends, Mega's house is not an ordinary house. It's one where you'll find warmth and share tales. And whenever you tell tales, it gets taller and taller. So, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me on this journey of Mega's home. Who wants to join me for a cup of cloud tea and unicorn cookie? Back to you.
Great job. Let's give Alicia one more round of applause. Okay, so we're gonna take about a few minutes. I want you to just write down in your own notes. Okay, what are some of the great things that she did, and what are some areas of improvement that you would give to her? Okay, if you were her evaluator. So let's take some time to just write it down first. Okay. All right. How many of you have written at least one good point? Yes, and one area of improvement. Yeah. All right. So share with us, or rather share with me. What is one good point that you have? What is the most obvious one? Okay, Suresha, you're very excited to share that. Please share. What is your good point?
I think the pause that she used, the gap,
Pauses.
pauses that she used, why she used it to great effect, in a suspense story, thriller. That is the effect that I found it very effective.
Right. And how did she do it? Well, different parts of the story.
Yeah,
different parts of the story. And why was it effective that she did that?
If you were watching a serial or a story or even a movie, it is that pauses that gets you thinking what next. So you're always thinking what next.
Yes, right.
That's how it was effective.
Yes, right. So by having pauses, she keeps the audience at the edge of their seats, always eager, curious, what's happening after that. All right. Well, let's give Suresha a round of applause. Well done. Hey, anyone else? Different point. Yes, Swati.
She's very expressive with her hand gestures, like butterflies, and so it was, and since it was a very imaginative way of retelling hand gestures, and added to the effect, and honestly,
Okay, all right. Let's give Swati a round of applause. Well done. Okay. So great hand gestures, animated delivery in that sense, right? So she was, let's say there's a door, she would do this. Okay, and then teleporting windows. All right, she was to start. Then when she said warm hearts, she would illustrate it with hand gestures. Okay, great. Thank you, Swati. And anyone else?
Dramatizing the girls, what she used, like expressing more, like when she was telling about butterflies, yes, and especially the transitioning from one room to another. When you are in one room, obviously you will think, hey, what could be the next step? That's why she left the past. Then she took us to the next room. So the transition was really moved there.
Okay. So when the transitions are good, what does that do? Why was
it made us to relate because you will be thinking, oh, we are in this one, so what will be the next? So you can very well relate, okay, the next one is this, oh, okay, and all that.
Right. So by relate mean to follow the story from one scene to another. Okay. All right. Okay, let's give Ramesh a round of applause. Great job. Okay. Now, what about areas of improvement? Let's have someone else. Try. Those who have not shared before. Yes, Zephyr. Yeah.
So one area is because of the mega character. She suddenly mentioned it during her speech, but she didn't really portray it. So a bit confused of who this mega is.
Okay, so how can she do it? So that was the what mega is missing in her story. But she mentioned many times, but you don't know who is it, right? Okay, so how?
Maybe she do start to mention who mega is and what he does, why his home is so important.
Okay. All right, and why is it important for her to do that?
And you bring us more clarity and follow the story of the who mega house, who mega is and what his house is.
Okay, let's give Zephyr a round of applause. Most importantly, it had to be that payoff, right? Until now, she left us hanging. She left us stuck in Mega's home. We are still there, and we still don't know who Mega is, right?